Wife always says I need another tractor on this house, like a hole in the head. So I did the right thing. Grabbed a drill bit, grabbed my drill, and then did this. And went and picked this thing up. It's a 1996 Ingersoll 3014. Sorry. My brain's apparently stuck in John Deere numbers. Anyways, so someone made a custom 3-point ordeal. That's gonna disappear. But it's not a bad looking rig. I mean, some stuff is not quite original on it, but I got it for a steal pretty much. But there's a reason I got it for a steal. And let's get into the video and I'll show you why. Welcome to HP Small Engine. I swear, every time I bring a tractor home, it always starts off where I gotta wash it. That refers back to the maintenance thing I mentioned, almost every video I do. Maintenance is key. Makes life easier. But we won't talk about that. I'm gonna get this washed up and we'll get it in the garage. But before we get it in the garage, I gotta do this really cool thing called make room. Because, I'm working on a project to buy another tractor, because that's how that works. Alright, well, she's in the garage. Now, the issue with this, the engine rolls over. It actually rolls quite well. Like, too well. Zero compression. So somewhere between the piston and the crankshaft, something decided to give up. Become Bluetooth. So what the plan is, I'm going to unhook all the wiring here. This is quite a wiring cluster cost. I don't know what the deal is with what's going on here, but I'm going to redo all this because this is a nightmare. But yep, we're going to pull the engine out of this and tear it apart and see what's going on with it. I'm going to try to look for some new shroud covers because, oh my gosh, I don't know. I understand now. I'm not picking on anybody. I understand some people just work with what they have. I get it. I'm going to try to fix those and make it look a little bit more appealing. But this whole tractor, somebody painted over it. If you can tell, I got the original paint peeking through from the bottom, which is okay because I'm going to be honest with you, I really have always wanted one of these tractors. And my neighbor, I don't know if you guys remember, I used to have a golf cart sitting next to the garage. And actually it's the neighbor that had the Cub Cadet that threw the rod and the other tractor. Anyways, he gave me this a while ago. It's a John Deere 44 snowblower. Because originally he wanted to put this on his Cub Cadet. And I told him, well, I could do it, but this is not designed for a horizontal shaft engine. This is set up for a vertical shaft engine. So he just said, okay, well, here, you can have it. All right, sweet. Well, here's the deal. I have a horizontal shaft engine, and this is going to go on. But that's fine, because I'll make it work. Anywho's, I'm going to get all this wiring undone, and we'll start getting ready to pull this engine out. Well, here's with the cover's off. I took that one off, too. A little bit of a mouse nest, nothing too bad. But I've never had this apart before. One of these apart. Here's your oil pump for your hydraulics and stuff. Well, let me show you something about made me sick. Let's backtrack over here. What in the world do we have going on here? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess that the pan gasket's been leaking. So they did the right thing and just gooped crap on there and try to get it to stop. Well, if I do say so myself, they failed. Alright, so I'm gonna assume that I'm gonna unbolt the engine. I was gonna take the whole piece off, but I think I'm gonna leave the mount here. I'll unbolt the engine. I'm assuming I can't really tell. Oh, you can kind of see in there. Focus. Sorry guys. See the bolt right there? I don't know if this is bolted together or not. I'm not sure yet how that works. I figured it would probably just be a shaft that slides into the pump and the pump stays stationary, but we'll see. We'll get into it and see what we have to do. Of course, I'll keep you guys updated. Okay, the oil is out. 90% of the garbage is off of this thing. I had to pull. This had one of those little turn, unscrew, and it come. Well, the stupid handle was broke off. So before I open this up, the more I look at this, the more it looks like somebody tried to fix something and failed. Because when I purchased this, the marketplace ad, the guy said he thinks the rod cap came off. Well, if the rod cap came off, then who was in it? And how do you know if you didn't work on it? Either way, I bought it knowing it needed work. So let's see what we have to do to it. I might have to grab a pry bar from the amount of frickin' gasket maker they put on this thing. Jeez, oh Pete. Okay, I got that. Let me grab my flat screwdriver that I have sitting. Ouch! Pulling hairs out of my head. Sorry. All right, sitting on the bench. All right, let's see what we have behind door number 1. Ow! Ow! Behind. Oh, there we go. We got poppage. All right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Grenaded the rod. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Just terrible. Oh, and the crank looks rough. Oh, that crank is junk. Dang it. No, that's it's called maintenance, people. You need to do it. Here, let's get you guys in here and show you. Yeah, look at that rod. Not rod, sorry, crank. Focus? Yeah, that's rough. Doggone it. That's okay. I've got a whole gasket kit for this. I'll order new. I'll order a used crankshaft. I'll order a used, or I'll find a rod and piston and stuff. I'll just do it all. I've already got everything else I need, so. Well, shoot. You know how sometimes they have those pictures you see and it's, you know, the longer you look, the worse it gets. Well, here's my pin for my hydraulic cylinder that's, you know, not through all the way. And then what in the French toast is going on here? I mean, what the I don't know. This whole unit's bent. That's welded to that. That's, oh my gosh. Well, needless to say, I'm gonna be doing a little bit more work to this than I thought, but that's okay, because by the time I'm done, it'll be correct. Oh, and by the way, the cylinder's literally just sitting there. So, yeah, hydraulic lift would have worked wonderful, huh? No. Okay, I guess, well, let's get to work on her. Well, I got bored and figured I'd tear this engine down since I need to fix it anyways. But I had to cut the gas line. Focus. Now I want you guys to tell me. You think this gas line's a little old? I mean, just a little hard, maybe? Yeah, just a little bit. Okay, I figured I'd continue with something I just learned. So, the older Kohlers are the K series, which here, let me show you. Let's go over here to my book. I got a fancy book now with all the goodies in it. Kohler engines. As you see, you got all your K series. This one would be considered a K321. Well, the 14 horse, I should say. But here's the funny fact. If you look right here on the back of this, it says K321, which is a K-series Kohler block. The only difference between this in the M14, which is what this technically is this right here. Because on the older ones, you have, let me pull this out of here, this, your ignition stuffs. Anyways, you have a set of coil and points. So, literally, these guys were smart enough to keep all the same block and other stuff and just update the coil, do a couple minor things. But I got thinking, the shrouding on that one, that's a K360 one. That's my 16 horse, you know, the one that's kind of buried in here that needs attention. But that has the same shroud on it. I'm assuming it must have been for the John Deere. All it was is a heat shroud. This is right here for the muffler. Oh yeah, which I learned my muffler broke, and it's been broke so long that yep. So I gotta fix that. That's no big deal. Anyways, that's just some stuff I just learned a little bit. I know some came with fuel pumps, some didn't. This one obviously has one. Mainly all the Cub Cadets and stuff didn't have any because the gas tanks were under the hood. This one has a gas tank in the rear, which reminds me, when I cleaned the gas tank, my goodness, people, this thing, I didn't know it was not black. I was wondering how you're supposed to see the fuel line. Jeez, a Pete. But alright, I'm going to continue tearing this apart, and I'll show you guys what the cylinder looks like when I get that far. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is a sign of improper assembly. Why else would the rod break right at the bottom? And you can see if you look at the bottom here, right, that looks a lot more of a fresh break than this side. What my guess is, well, let's take a look here. Let's take a peek. This side was tightened down fine, as you can tell. It's still attached. The other bolt was not. So it started getting loose, and then when it started getting loose, stuff started happening, and kabang! Piston, because the piston was all the way at the top. It went up and hit the head. I guarantee you can probably see a mark on the head. Yeah, you see around the edge there, where all the carbon's kind of knocked off. That piston came up, slapped the head, or came up on the upstroke, and that let loose, and the piston just like, okay, I'll just hang out up here. But that, besides that, let's take a look at this cylinder. Focus. Get with the program. Okay, there we go. It's not the best view, but you can see it's got a little bit of cross hatching in it. Looks pretty good though. I think this won't be too bad. Now, my case 224, because I showed you guys I had two cases behind the house and they're at my dad's property. The case 224 has a K321 in it, which is this, which has a crank in it that I need. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna double check. I have a piston and rings on the shelf over here. If the rings fit, I'll hone the cylinder, put the rings on the piston, because I'm gonna, as long as everything measures out correctly, I'm gonna use probably the crank and the piston and rod from the other engine. And yeah, I could probably swap stuff over, but I'm just gonna keep this engine as that, because the other one has the old style points and stuff in and other stuff on it. So this has the newer, coil like I showed you. But anyways, I'll pull the rotating assembly for the most part out of that, put in this, get this thing running or ready to run. Before this goes back in the tractor, I have got to fix the frame on that and that setup. That's just rough. I'm gonna get all that fixed up and then drop this back in and have a working Ingersoll while the hot rod tractor patiently watches and waits. Kind of rude. But anyways, thanks everybody for watching. Hopefully next time you guys get to see this, it will be getting put back together, and I'll do a video on complete reassembly on one of these. The best part is I've never done one, so we'll all learn how it works. All right, you guys have a good rest of your day.